joining us is George Lambert Jr., President and CEO of the Washington Urban League, and Ron Frazier, business developer of the Greater Washington Urban League. We're running what we call a detective agency of sorts, with agents otherwise known as disease detectives. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. Delighted to be with you. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Sure. And Ron, yeah. So, I mean, the Greater Washington Urban League is an institution in Washington, D.C., and you do so much work. And now you not only are working on trying to make sure everybody in the District of Columbia gets counted, but you joined the fight against COVID-19. So tell us, what is contact tracing? Because we've been hearing a lot about it. And, you all are experts now, the disease detectives. Tell us what you do.
So I'm gonna yield to Ron Frazier, who's our Director of Business Development, to do the deeper dive. But just to give you kind of a bit of an overlay in terms of the entire context of when it is a defining moment, I will say to you, for our nation. It's a devastating moment for the African American community. We're fighting two pandemics. So what I would suggest to you is the pandemic of COVID-19 and the pandemic, quite frankly, of systematic racism. I know you'll invite me back another time to talk about the latter, the systematic racism. But clearly, we're fighting two pandemics, no question about that at all. So what I will tell you is that we do have an obligation to certainly drive awareness around many of the health disparities in our community. And that's why we're so delighted to partner with the mayor in certainly driving awareness around contact tracing, which clearly is very important during this environment of COVID-19, no question about it. I've always said, and I think it bears repeating as well, that Mayor Bowser, as well as Dr. Nesbitt, have really been taking a very measured approach in terms of guiding this community, keeping us safe. Contact tracing is one of the ways that we're doing that as well. So Ron, let me let you jump in, and then I'll certainly be delighted to come back in.
Great. Okay. Thank you, George. Thank you, Denise, for having us again.
Mm-hmm.
So we are really delighted, as Mr. Lambert just mentioned, to be part of the efforts to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. Contact tracing is one of the major tools that we can use along, of course, with social distancing and wearing masks. But contact tracing is so very important. And with the alarming rate of contact tracing in the Black community, it was something that the Urban League felt very strongly that we should become involved with. And so our job is not to do the actual contact tracing, but to help the community become aware and comfortable with the idea of contact tracing, and to see the importance of actually participating in contact tracing. It is again one of the tragedies that we as an African American people have really experienced the disease to a higher degree, but it is our desire to help mitigate that by using contact tracing to help our community become aware and familiar with the disease.
So what I'm trying to understand is that, which is what the White House is dealing with right now. There was an event, people were there, people showed up with the disease. Now they're trying to basically locate individuals who were at that event. So that's where the contact. They've had contact with someone who has had the virus. And now they're trying to trace all those individuals, contact those individuals, so that one, they can inform them, right, that they have been in contact with someone that tested positive. And then what? Well, and before we get to the then what, because to me, that's the hardest part. One, identifying, let's say if I ended up, with the virus and I test positive, first of all, what puts you in touch with me?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the latter part of the question again?
Yeah, what puts you into, if I test positive, how do you find me?
Okay, so we're not actually involved in that part of it. We're just our part is awareness. But if a person contracts the disease, members of the health department would then contact them or try to contact them and let them know that they are in touch, have been in contact with someone who has tested positive for the disease and or is showing symptoms of the disease. Then at that point, it is important that that person get tested and also quarantine. And that's the only way you can stop the spread of the disease. It's unfortunate that the White House is not very cooperative in the district's effort to mitigate the disease by enforcing contact tracing based on the event that you just referenced. That's the kind of thing we want to avoid in the community, because the only way we can stop this disease once a person has contracted the disease is to make sure that they isolate themselves, get tested, and remain in isolation for up to 14 days.
So what is
But the
the
nation of
role
the
of the, yes, yeah, I was going to ask,
the other
what
thing
is
I
the
would really,
role of the Urban League?
well, the other thing I would very quickly add is when we mention clearly driving awareness, it's also driving awareness about those who are being bad actors. And so clearly, I think, we are seeing examples of those who are being bad actors. These super spreader events, those are events where we have bad actors. So we're trying to discourage that kind of behavior. And to the extent that we're, folks engage in that kind of behavior, then we're saying, you still need to get on the right path with regard to working with the health department, making sure that you are cooperative in the process of helping to chase the process back to where you may have contacted as well. So clearly, lots of bad actors in this scenario. We're driving awareness to our community. We don't need to be the bad actors in this scenario. We have already been hit very hard by this disease and don't need to put ourselves in a position where we're spreading it more.
You
So what the
mentioned
urban
early on, you mentioned very early on, Mr. Lambert, that there were two pandemics, and I see three. One is the pandemic of, the virus itself. The other one, like you said, is systemic racism. And in many cases, it's ignorance.
Hmm.
And it's not being, maybe, and I think that's where the Urban League comes in here, is I think part of your role, and I think, Ron, you're getting ready to explain that to us. If I contracted the disease, the Department of Health contacts me, then it's behooves someone to reach out to the people who I've been around to let them know, hey, I've tested positive. You might want to get tested as well.
That's correct. And so what we want to do is to make our community comfortable with the idea of contact tracing, because it doesn't work. If you don't respond to the health department call, then contact tracing is of no help in helping to stop the spread of the disease. So through radio broadcasts, through our Urban League radio broadcast, through creating podcasts, blogs, we're adding a page to our website. We've already developed and are distributing brochures, and we will be conducting workshops to help, again, our folks understand the importance of contact tracing and encouraging them to be responsive when they receive a call, or if they receive a call from the health department. And also, if persons that they know or receive a call, maybe they haven't been in contact with the person, but they can help ease that person's concerns and encourage them to respond.
I think that's fantastic, and I think it's a great role that you are playing, because people look at this disease just like they look at other diseases, where they don't want people to know what's happened to them, and I think the message that you all are trying to convey is that we can get rid of this disease so long as we cooperate.
Absolutely.
This work is a game changer, what we're doing, and that's why it's very purposeful, and that's why we, certainly are supporting the mayor and her team in terms of being involved, and we think we're a trusted voice in our community, and so absolutely want to do everything that we can to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 through contact tracing.
I want to want to thank both of you for joining us. I mean, like I said in the beginning, the Greater Washington Urban League is involved in so many programs and initiatives, and we don't want you to be strangers on WIN TV. We certainly want folks to know what you're doing and how you're supporting the community. So we look forward to having you back soon.
Invite me back to talk about systemic racism. Got lots of comments on that one.
All right, we'll do. We'll do.
Take care.
Gentlemen, have a
Thank
great
you.
day. Thank you.